Welcome to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. The show that takes you from diaper disasters to the legendary teenage eye roll. I'm your host, Clementine Lord, here to guide you through every stage of parenting, from toddlers testing your patience to adult children testing your Wi-Fi limits. Parenting is a wild ride, and no matter your child's age, you'll always find a moment where you think, are you fucking kidding me? Hey friends, welcome back to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. This is the podcast for thoughtful parents who are trying their damn best and still occasionally say, fuck it, we're having cereal for dinner. I'm your host, Clementine Lord, and today we're digging into the radical, revolutionary idea of not taking parenting so seriously. I know. Some of you are already clutching your parenting planners and muttering, structure is safety. Structure is safety. But seriously, hear me out. There is a quiet rebellion in choosing joy over control. In this episode, we're going to talk about the little moments where we let the rules slide. Ice cream for dinner, fast food picnics in the backyard, skipping bath night because you're all just done. And why those moments are not just okay, but actually good for your kids. Seriously. We'll also unpack what that does for their mental health, what kind of emotional legacy that kind of parenting creates, and how you can start letting go without turning your home into a lawless chaos zone. Unless that's your vibe, in which case, you totally do you. So, go grab a snack, a stiff drink, and hide from your kids in the garage if you have to, and let's get into it. Let's start with a truth bomb. Parenting is fucking hard. It's a relentless job full of invisible labor, emotional landmines, and other people's bodily fluids. Why are we making it harder by trying to ace some imaginary parenting Olympics? There's this pervasive myth that being a good parent means being on 24/7, serving nutritious meals 3 times a day, curating enriching experiences, and monitoring screen time like it's radioactive. But when we chase perfection, we end up rigid, burnt out, and disconnected from ourselves and from our kids. When we lighten up, we give ourselves permission to be human. And here's the kicker. Our kids need to see us be human. Not flawless, not Pinterest perfect, but real. That's how they learn empathy, adaptability, and that it's okay not to have all of your shit together. Research backs this up. Relaxed, emotionally available parenting has been linked to greater emotional security in children. It builds a foundation of trust because your kids learn that their home is not just a rule factory. It's a safe zone, a place where they can make mistakes, laugh, cry, and just be. So yeah, let's drop the pressure to parent like we're being graded, because no one's out here handing out gold stars for any parent. Let's get real about mealtime. If there's one thing that's guaranteed to crank up the stress meter, it's trying to cook a nutritious, well-balanced dinner when you're already running on fumes. We've all been there, standing in the kitchen, mentally calculating if there's enough time to chop vegetables, boil pasta, and convince your kid that broccoli isn't a form of torture. And do this all before bedtime? Sometimes the answer is a hard no. Now I can already hear the collective gasps from the imaginary parenting council. But fiber, protein, balanced meals. Hey, look, I'm not saying throw all of that out the window forever, but let's be really honest. One night of skipping the food pyramid, which is also crap, isn't going to break your child. What it will do is give everyone a much-needed breather. First, let's talk about the joy factor. Eating something unexpected or forbidden for dinner lights up that little rebel center in a kid's brain. It's novel, it's fun, and it instantly transforms. It's novel, it's fun, and it instantly transforms a normal night into an event. You know how adults crave cheat days when they're on a diet, where they ditch the quinoa and dive straight into a plate of nachos? Well, the same principle applies to our kids. When you announce, hey kids, we're having ice cream for dinner tonight, you're not just feeding their bellies, you're feeding their sense of wonder. You're giving them a story they'll tell their friends or remember fondly years from now. And honestly, you're giving yourself a damn break. And here's where it gets interesting. There's actual science backing all of this up. When we engage in unexpected, joyful activities, like turning dinner upside down, our brains release dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. For kids, that dopamine hit doesn't just create happiness in the moment, it reinforces positive emotional associations with family time. It's like saying, home is not just where I'm told what to do, it's where I can be surprised. It's where good things happen. And this isn't just fluff. There is a real developmental impact here. Kids who grow up in environments that balance structure with occasional spontaneity tend to develop higher emotional intelligence and better adaptability. It's also a lesson in flexibility and control. Let's talk about control for a second. When we rigidly control every aspect of our child's routine, we unintentionally teach them that life must always follow a plan. And when it doesn't, things fall apart. That's a recipe for anxiety. But when we introduce occasional, intentional disruptions, like surprise ice cream dinner, we model flexibility. They learn life isn't always predictable, and that's okay. They develop the ability to pivot, go with the flow, and appreciate that not every moment has to be planned or perfect. Kids raised in environments where joy, flexibility, and emotional connection are prioritized tend to have better emotional regulation and lower rates of anxiety as they grow. According to research on parenting styles, children who experience warmth and unpredictability in moderation develop stronger coping skills and are more resilient in the face of life's challenges. And most importantly, they see that you, their parent, are capable of adapting and finding joy in imperfection. That is a powerful message. And here's where we get into the deeper stuff. So much of parenting stress comes from the idea that we're supposed to get it right all the fucking time. We buy into this myth that good parents follow the rules to the letter, serve organic vegetables, limit sugar, and never cave to convenience. But here's the truth. That level of perfection is absolutely not sustainable, and it's not necessary. When we loosen our grip and allow ourselves to break the rules occasionally, we're not just giving ourselves grace, we are modeling self-compassion for our kids. We're showing them that it's okay to be kind to yourself when things get hard. That's a skill they'll carry with them long after they stop asking for dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets. Although, I'm not sure that they ever stop asking for dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets. Anyway, they learn that life isn't about maintaining perfect order. It's about finding balance. They understand that sometimes taking a break from routine is necessary, and they internalize that happiness can be found in small, simple moments. But what about nutrition? Okay, what about nutrition? I'm not saying you should replace vegetables with ice cream indefinitely, but one night of indulging in something fun doesn't erase all the other healthy choices you've made. Think of it as part of a broader strategy, one that includes both nutrition and nurturing. Sometimes the mental health benefits of a relaxed evening far outweigh the fiber content of a plate of broccoli. Your kids will survive a sugar-heavy dinner, but they will thrive from a home where they feel safe, loved, and occasionally surprised by joy. It means they're having a fun, weird little experience with you. And that matters. If you're not the impromptu fuck it all parent, but you are ready to sprinkle in a little more fun into your meal times without completely derailing structure, here's how you can make it work. Schedule it occasionally. Let your kids know that once in a while you'll have a surprise dinner night where anything goes. This keeps it special and avoids making it an expectation. I used to surprise my kids at school and take them to lunch. Randomly, without any warning, I'd just call the school, excuse them for lunch, and take them to the local McDonald's or Panera just to keep things wild. Theme nights. Turn cereal for dinner into breakfast for dinner night. Make an ice cream sundae into a Sunday surprise. See what I did there? Give it a name and build anticipation. Balance it out. Pair a fun dinner with a family movie, a board game, or just extra snuggles on the couch. It becomes an event, not just a meal. You can even involve the kids. Let them choose the wacky dinner every now and again. It gives them a sense of control and makes the experience even more memorable. At the end of the day, these moments aren't about what's on the plate. They're about what's happening around it. Laughter, togetherness, a sense of freedom. And those things, they nourish your kids in ways that kale never will. So the next time you're staring at a sink full of dishes and an empty fridge, remember this. Sometimes the best parenting move you can make is to grab a box of cereal, hand everyone a spoon, and call it a fucking win. Or tell the kids to hop in the car because froyo for dinner is the plan tonight. And trust me, your kids will remember those nights. Not because of what they ate, but because of how they felt. They felt safe, loved, and a little bit wild. All right, so we've talked about ice cream for dinner. Now let's take the same throw out the rule book energy and move it outdoors, or at least to the backyard, the park, or hell, even the living room floor if you're not feeling particularly outdoorsy. Because I want to talk about the joy of fast food picnics and all the ways these simple, low-effort moments can turn an ordinary evening into something your kids will never forget. It's been a long day, you're white, the kitchen's a mess, and the idea of making one more decision, let alone chopping vegetables, is enough to make you want to hide in the bathroom and cry. So instead of forcing yourself through the nightly dinner routine, just load your kids in the car, grab a bag of greasy goodness from the nearest drive-thru, and plop down in the backyard or on a blanket in the living room if Mother Nature isn't cooperating. And suddenly, that stressful weekday evening turns into something special. The air feels lighter, the kids are giggling, and for once, dinner doesn't feel like another item on your endless to-do list. This, my friends, is what I like to call backyard magic. And it's not just about saving yourself from another night of dishes, though that's definitely a perk. These moments of spontaneity and joy are laying the groundwork for something much, much bigger. Emotional security, flexibility, and a lifelong understanding that joy doesn't have to be complicated. I have such vivid memories of my mom picking up tacos, taking us to a local park, sitting down, eating the food, and then going off and playing. I have no idea what was going on in our world at that time, but I do know that those times felt so magical. So why do fast food picnics hit different? There's just something about eating outside or in an unexpected place that flips a switch in the kid's brain. Maybe it's the novelty, maybe it's the freedom of sitting on the ground, or maybe it's just that fries totally taste better when there's a breeze. But whatever it is, these little breaks from the norm create an experience that feels bigger than the sum of its part. And here's the kicker. Our brains are required to remember moments like these. When something breaks from the routine, it lights up the novelty center of the brain and locks that memory in tight. You know, core memories. So while your kids might not remember the carefully balanced meal you served last Thursday, they'll definitely remember the time they ate burgers on a blanket while watching the sunset. These aren't just fun moments, they're emotional bookmarks in your child's life. It's neurological. Your kids are forming layered, multisensory memories tied to safety, joy, unpredictability in the best way possible. And it's not just about the memories. These experiences create a sense of safety and connection. When we break out of routine to do something fun and unexpected, we're sending a message that life doesn't always have to be serious. Home isn't just a place where rules are followed and vegetables are eaten. It's also where we can laugh, let loose, and savor the small joys. That's the kind of emotional foundation that lasts long after they've outgrown their Happy Meal toys. I remember my mom telling me a story about when she was a teenager in high school. Her family had a picnic on the beach of a local lake, and she brought a boyfriend with her. And the family ended up having this massive food fight, and her boyfriend was absolutely horrified about the mess, the chaos. And my mom said it's one of her favorite memories from her teenage years, being one child of 9. I like to think about that time because it makes me realize what really makes me excited about all of this is what happens beneath the surface. These low effort, high impact moments aren't just cute Instagram worthy memories. They're actually giving your kids a boost in emotional resilience and mental health. When you create moments of connection without stress or structure, you're building what psychologists call felt safety. It's the idea that kids don't just need to know they're physically safe, they need to feel emotionally safe too. And feeling safe isn't just about having rules and routines. It's about knowing that sometimes life can be unpredictable in the best possible way. That even when things go off script, there's total joy to be found. And let's not overlook the power of flexibility. Life doesn't always go according to plan. Sometimes things fall apart. When we show our kids that it's okay to pivot, that a change of plans can lead to something fun and unexpected, we're teaching them how to handle life's curveballs. These small moments of spontaneity are helping them develop emotional flexibility, which is a key factor in resilience. It's the difference between a kid who melts down when their plans change and a kid who can adapt and totally roll with it. There's also something endearing about the way kids open up during these moments. When you're sitting outside, munching on fries, and watching the clouds roll by, conversation just flows. Something about being in a relaxed environment, away from the formal structure of the dinner table, makes kids more willing to share. It's like their guard drops a little, and suddenly they're telling you all about their day, their friends, and what's swirling around in their little hearts and minds. And crazily, this works for teens too. These are the moments where you get a glimpse into their world, the moments that remind you why this whole parenting thing is worth it. Let's be honest, one of the best parts about a fast food picnic is that it's easy. No cooking, no cleanup, no negotiating over how many bites of broccoli need to be eaten before dessert. Sometimes the best way to preserve your own mental health is to give yourself permission to take the easy road. And guess what? Your kids will love it. They're not judging you for skipping the home-cooked meal. They're too busy dunking their nuggets in ketchup and enjoying every second. of the break from routine. And the beauty of it, these moments don't have to be fancy. They don't have to be expensive. There's no Pinterest board required. You don't need themed napkins or color-coordinated snacks. All it takes is a blanket, or not, a bag of food, and a willingness to embrace the mess and the awe. And if fast food isn't your jam, no problem. The concept still works just as well with PB&J and sliced fruit. It's really not about what you're eating. It's about where and how you're doing it. Eating outside, sitting on the floor, laughing while the wind blows napkins across the yard. That's where the emotional connection and beauty unfolds. If you're ready to take this idea and run with it, there are so many ways to create backyard magic beyond just a fast food picnic. You can lay out a blanket on the living room floor and have an indoor picnic when the weather's bad. You can do a build your own snack night where the kids get to create their own little masterpieces. Or take things up a notch by adding a nighttime twist. Grab some popcorn, spread out in the backyard after dark, and do some stargazing while munching away. The point is that you don't need a special occasion to make something ordinary feel extraordinary. All it takes is a little shift in perspective, a willingness to break the routine and invite a little wonder into your day. And trust me, those moments will stick. Here's the thing. Your kids aren't going to remember the spotless kitchen or the perfectly balanced meals, but they will remember the feeling of eating fries on a blanket, watching the sunset. They'll remember the times when you said yes to fun instead of no to mess. They'll remember how it felt to be part of a family that knew how to hit pause and just savor life. These aren't just fun moments. They are legacy moments. They're the memories your kids will carry with them long after they've grown and long after you're gone. And they're teaching your kids something powerful, that joy can be found anywhere, that life is meant to be lived, not just managed. So the next time you're staring down at a sink full of dishes and wondering how the hell you're going to pull off dinner, take a breath, grab the keys, hit the drive-thru, and let the delight begin. Because sometimes the best parenting move you can make is to throw out the plan, grab some fries, and create a memory your kids and you will never forget. All right. So I've talked about ice cream for dinner. I've talked about fast food picnics and backyard magic. But seriously, let's just step back and talk about why this matters so damn much. Why does it make a difference if we let go of the rigid rules every now and then, break the routine, and choose joy over perfection? The truth is, these small acts of spontaneity and connection are doing so much more than just giving you a breather after a long day. They are layering the foundation for your child's mental health, emotional resilience, and long-term well-being. And the impact of that goes far beyond a fun night. So let's unpack this a little bit and take a closer look at how those seemingly tiny choices, like eating cereal on the couch or having a picnic on the floor, are shaping your child's emotional future in powerful ways. There's a science behind playful, low-stakes parenting. Kids don't learn resilience by listening to lectures or reading about how to go with the flow. They learn it by watching you handle life in real time. Every time you pivot and choose play over pressure, every time you let go of perfection and lean into a moment of joy, you're giving your child a front row seat to how to navigate life's ups and downs. And that's not just cute, it's essential. Psychologists call this experiential learning. It's the idea that kids absorb emotional skills by experiencing them firsthand. When you model flexibility and show them that plans can change without the world falling apart, you're helping to wire their brains for adaptability. And when they see that sometimes joy can come from the unexpected, they learn that life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. Let's start with one of the most important pieces, emotional security. At the core of a child's mental health is their sense of safety, both physically and emotionally. And while structure and routine definitely contribute to that feeling of safety, it's connection that seals the deal. When you pause, loosen the rules, and create moments of spontaneous joy, you're sending a powerful message. You matter more than the plan. I see you. I'm here with you. These moments reinforce a child's sense of secure attachment, which isn't just about feeling loved. It's about knowing deep down that their caregiver, their parent, is responsive, attuned, and emotionally available, even when things get messy. And here's the importance of secure attachment. Kids who feel securely attached don't just grow up feeling loved, they grow up with emotional resilience. They're better equipped to handle life's inevitable challenges because they've learned through experience that they have a safe place to land. That feeling of being loved, accepted, and understood becomes their emotional anchor, helping them navigate everything from playground drama to bigger life hurdles. When you choose connection over control, even if it's as simple as a backyard picnic or a movie night with cereal, you're building that foundation. And that foundation, it lasts a fucking lifetime. So what happens and how do you teach flexibility and emotional adaptability? Life doesn't always go as planned. Sometimes things fall apart. Actually, usually, things fall apart. And if we raise our kids to believe that everything has to follow a strict schedule or unfold perfectly, we are going to set them up for disappointment. But when we intentionally introduce moments where plans do change, like deciding to eat dinner on the floor instead of at the table, we're teaching them something incredibly valuable: how to adapt. But what if your child thrives on routine? What if spontaneity feels less like fun and more like an emotional landmine? If you're parenting a child on the autism spectrum, or any child who finds comfort in structure and predictability, this conversation looks a little different. And that's okay, because the beauty of flexibility is that it doesn't have to look the same for everyone. This is where cognitive flexibility comes into play. Cognitive flexibility is the ability to shift gears, adapt to new situations, and approach problems from different angles. And it's a critical skill for navigating the real world. When kids learn that it's okay when things don't go as planned, they develop a mindset that says, I can handle change, I can figure things out, I can find joy even when things go sideways. For neurodivergent kids, especially children on the autism spectrum, flexibility doesn't always come easily. For many children on the spectrum, routine isn't just a preference, it's a safety net. Predictability helps them feel secure in a world that often can feel overwhelming. Changes, even small ones, can trigger feelings of anxiety or distress because the unfamiliar disrupts their sense of control. So when we talk about introducing flexibility and spontaneity, it's important to remember that for some kids, this will be work. And it's okay if that work happens in small, manageable doses. Don't kill yourself. Every time you let go of the perfect plan and embrace a little spontaneity, you're showing your child that change isn't something to fear. It's something to roll with. And that lesson, it sticks. For neurodivergent kids, practicing cognitive flexibility often requires co-regulation, where they borrow your calm to navigate their own emotional storms. In these moments, your presence is the anchor. You're teaching them that even when things feel unpredictable, they're not facing it alone. We live in a world that puts a lot of pressure on our kids to get everything just right. Perfect grades, perfect behavior, perfect schedules. And that pressure, well, it's creating a generation of kids who are terrified of making mistakes. But here's where you have the power to shift that narrative. When you show your kids that imperfection is normal, that plans can change, and that life doesn't have to be rigid to be good, you're giving them permission to breathe. You're modeling a mindset that says, it's okay to let go sometimes. It's okay not to have it all together. Kids who grow up in environments where imperfection is accepted and even celebrated are less likely to develop anxiety and more likely to approach life with a growth mindset. They learn that mistakes aren't the end of the world. They're part of the process. I was out to dinner with a friend recently, and we were with their neurodivergent son. The child ordered toast, and when it came cut in squares, he was not impressed. He was super upset because he wanted triangle toast. And the awesome thing about watching this was that the server, the parents, and everyone else around him took deep breaths, said it was okay, and went back and got him toast that was cut in triangles. He learned that mistakes aren't the end of the world. They were part of the process. And all kids, they'll develop the emotional resilience to handle life's challenges without spiraling into fear or self-doubt. And sometimes the most flexible thing you can do is recognize when it's okay to say, you know what? Let's stick with what feels safe today. Because honoring your child's boundaries is also a form of flexibility. The goal isn't to eliminate their need for routine. It's to gently expand their comfort zone so that life's inevitable curveballs feel a little less overwhelming. And that's something worth celebrating. Every time you choose connection over control, every time you create a space for joy, even in the smallest, most intentional ways, you're planting seeds. Seeds of security, adaptability, and emotional resilience. Seeds that will grow into a lifelong ability to navigate life's challenges with grace and confidence. And if that looks like a perfectly structured routine one day and an impromptu picnic the next, that's not inconsistency. That's balance. You're just raising kids. You are raising future adults who will carry these lessons with them into every relationship, every challenge, and every joy they encounter. And that is the win. So when you skip the perfectly balanced meal in favor of ice cream on the porch, you're not just giving yourself a break, you're giving your kids a masterclass in emotional freedom. So whether you're sitting on a blanket under the stars or sticking to a routine that feels safe and familiar, remember, you're doing more than making memories. You're giving your child the tools they need to face life with confidence, and that gift lasts a lifetime. Resilience isn't about avoiding difficult situations. It's about developing the emotional strength to handle life's unpredictability, adapt to change, and find a way forward even when things don't go as planned. And while all kids benefit from building resilience, this conversation becomes even more meaningful and more nuanced when we're talking about our neurodivergent children. But here's the science. When kids engage in play, especially play that's spontaneous and imaginative, they're practicing problem solving, creativity, and emotional regulation. They're learning how to experiment, take risks, and recover when things don't go as planned. And when that play happens in a context where they feel safe, loved, and connected, then that's when we know we've rocked this parenting thing. When you create moments of joyful connection, whether it's in a living room or a spontaneous dance party, you're filling your child's emotional toolbox with the skills they need to face life's challenges. These positive, low-stakes experiences build build emotional reserves that they can draw on when things get hard. Think of it like an emotional savings account. Every time you create a joyful, connected moment, you're making a deposit. And when life throws a curveball, and it will, your child has those emotional reserves to fall back on. These moments of joy aren't just cute. They're protective factors that help buffer your child against stress, against anxiety, and adversity. And that, again, is something they will carry with them long after they've outgrown their Happy Meal toy. At the end of the day, what do we really want our kids to remember about their childhood? Do we want them to remember how clean the kitchen was? Or how perfectly balanced their meals were? Or do we want them to remember the feeling of being loved, being seen, and being part of a family that knew how to pause and savor the good stuff? I don't know about you, but I don't remember the perfectly scheduled days. I remember the moments of my own childhood. The road trips, the nights my mom sewed my Halloween costume, the things that really made me feel loved. And I'm guessing our kids will be the same. They remember the times you ate ice cream for dinner, the times you let them stay up late to watch the stars, the times you said, forget the dishes, let's go have an adventure. Those moments become part of their emotional DNA, and that will shape how they see the world and how they build relationships and how they create joy in their own lives. When you prioritize connection and joy, you're not just giving your kids happy memories. You are giving them an emotional blueprint for how to find happiness, even in the chaos that is life. And that blueprint, it is a gift. It is a gift that lasts forever. And I know what some of you might be thinking, but if I let it go too much, won't everything fall apart? Nope, not even close. Letting go doesn't mean giving up control. It doesn't mean letting your kids run the show. It means trusting that the foundation that you have built as a parent is strong enough to handle a little mess. And when you let go of perfection, something incredible happens. You show up as a more present, more joyful version of yourself. When you're less stressed and more connected, you're not just making life easier for yourself. You're creating an environment where your kids feel seen, safe, and loved. And here's the bottom line. Every time you choose connection over control, every time you prioritize joy over perfection, and every time you let yourself off the hook, you are planting seeds. I know I said it before, but these are seeds of security, resilience, and emotional strength. Seeds that will grow into a lifelong ability to handle life's challenges with grace and confidence. You are not just raising kids. You are raising future adults who will carry these lessons with them into everything they encounter. That's where strong foundations of parenting are made. They're not just memories. They're medicine for your child's soul. Thank you for hanging out with me today as we explored why not taking parenting so seriously can be the best thing for you and your kids. You're not failing your children when you break the routine. You are showing them that life can be lived, not just managed. So here's your permission slip. Let go. Not of everything, but of the idea that parenting is a performance, that your worth is tied to perfect meals, rigid routines, or how closely you stick to the parenting script. Sometimes the best thing you can do is break the rules. Laugh a little and hand your kid a popsicle for dinner. Parenting is a long-ass journey, and you might as well enjoy the ride. So should your kids. Thanks for tuning in to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. If this episode made you smile, exhale, feel a little less alone, please share it with another tired parent. Leave a review if you feel like it. Or don't. There's really no pressure here. But until next time, please stay real, stay ridiculous, and remember, you are doing better than you think.